What's up guys, Zach here from the Chaos Galaxy, and recently on my videos I've had quite a few people who are just starting out TCGs asking me, if I can do any artwork for them, if I can just give them some tips in general on how to make a TCG or some suggestions for names. And I'd really love to help everyone, but unfortunately I can't really find the time to be doing art for other people's TCGs. Obviously I'm trying to work on mine. I'm doing art at university anyway, so I've got a lot of art related stuff on my plate at the moment. But what I can do, and what I will do now, is give you tips on how to improve your TCG, or if you're thinking of starting up a TCG, how to go about doing it. So welcome to Zach's top 10 tips for tailoring your TCG. I don't know if that worked. So these 10 things I'm about to tell you are, in my opinion, the most important things for making a TCG. And it's just a matter of opinion, it's not fact. People can go about making their own TCGs however they want. I'm sure people at ICCS Sunlord or TCG News, Peter Jank, they all have different ideas on how to make their own TCG as good as it can be. But I'm just going to give you top 10 things that I find really useful for making Chaos Galaxy and all the other kind of games I've made. I've got my list up here, so if I'm looking down, I'm not looking at my dick or anything. Number 1, and these are in no particular order, although this number 1 is probably one of the most important ones, and that is be original. Make your TCG your own, use your strengths towards it, and you must use your own ideas. I can't stress this enough. Don't copy. It's okay to be inspired, but don't copy, and there's a difference between that. I'll give you an example now. A few weeks ago on one of my videos, someone commented, can I use Drangel in my TCG? Now Drangel, if you don't know, is a card from my TCG here. He's pretty powerful and he's one of, I'd say probably one of the most iconic cards from set 1. And someone said, can I use him in my TCG? And I had to answer back, no, I'm sorry, Drangel's my idea. You can sort of base a card off it, but put your own twist on it, because that's being inspired by it. So if that person was, say, to make a card called Divine Dragon, or Angel Dragon, and have like a dragon with angel wings and a halo, then that'd be fine, because it's not the same as Drangel. Drangel's like a perfect half and half dragon / angel. So yeah, be inspired by, but don't copy. Just be original and put your own twist on things. Number 2, inspiration is everywhere. When starting to make your TCG, watch other TCG makers. There are so many amazing TCG makers out there. There's me, of course. No, I'm just kidding. But people like ICCS Sunlord, TCG News, Kiwi Kojiro, Wanted Striker, and there are so many more who I can't name. But just look around the community, watch other videos, get little bits of inspiration from them, sort of combine it all and put your own thoughts into it. Most of it should be your own thoughts, and then just put them all into this thing and just get making cards and see what happens. That's just for the rules. But when making individual cards, inspiration's everywhere as well. I don't know, say you're just walking down the street and you see a really fat guy who looks like a bear. Oh, I could make a card out of him, I'll put some horns on him, give him really big claws and hands and stuff, and I'll make him into a card. It's also, you can get it on films, and even things like science and literature. Like, for example, in school, one of my favourite subjects was physics, and I was really into the whole astrophysics, space type thing, which is why I made my game Chaos Galaxy all to do with space and galaxies. Just here, bolide comet. I'm sorry, the glare's really bad, but yeah, bolide comet. Bolide means a comet that's on fire, so bolide comet is just a comet that's on fire in the artwork. Next up, parallel universe. I'm sure you know what a parallel universe is. They're always in films and comics and stuff like that. But it's just literally like a universe that is similar to this one but slightly different, and that's reflected in the ability of parallel universe. The card parallel universe says that you and your opponent swap cards, and you keep swapping around, like you keep flipping universes and going into different worlds and things. So that's another one heavily inspired by science. And Galaxy Crash. This is probably the best example. I don't know if you've heard of this, and it's a theory called the Big Crunch. It's the complete opposite of the Big Bang, and the theory goes that at the Big Bang the universe was a single point, a singularity, which just expanded, releasing loads of energy, and it keeps on expanding. But then there's a theory that when it's finished expanding, it's going to come back in, close back on itself and crunch together back into the singularity that it came from. And that theory is called the Big Crunch, and as you can see, Galaxy Crash is based off that. You can see all the planets and the sun crunching together and the end of the universe closing in. And this is also reflected in the card's ability, kill all creatures on both players' planets, like the end of the world. So yeah, inspiration is everywhere. Next up, trial and error. You won't get everything right first time when you're making your TCG, you know, and that comes with everything like artwork, rules of the game. Just play test things, redraw things, and just be a perfectionist about it. I've made so many TCGs, if one's not very good, you know, I'll ask myself why, and then in the next TCG I make, I'll put it right or just change it completely, and then just keep improving things until I've got the best TCG that I can make, which at the moment is Chaos Galaxy. You know, Chaos Galaxy isn't perfect, there are still changes that I'd like to make to it. So, you know, that could one day happen in another TCG that I make. And it's the same with your actual cards as well. You're probably familiar with the card Humongous Ancient Rockman, which is one of the main cards from set 1, the Chaos Galaxy TCG. And yeah, just drawing the artwork here, this was when I first started making Chaos Galaxy, and I was just jotting down plans for cards. And here, I don't know if you can see, that stupid face there was the original plan for Humongous Ancient Rockman. I then sort of improved it a bit, gradually made it better and better, and then came up with this sort of final draft here before I made the artwork that is on the card now, which is this. You can just use this as sort of a metaphor for a TCG, you know. If you start off with that face as your TCG, it's not going to be very good. You're going to improve some things, make it better and better, and then end up with this Humongous Ancient Rockman of a TCG up here. And that's another thing. You know, don't be afraid to be ambitious and go out there. You're not going to get it right first time. No one does. I didn't. I'm sure every other TCG maker had to edit their game in some way or another. But just like, I know it sounds weird, but don't be embarrassed to mess up, because you can just go and correct it and no one will notice. Number 4 is keep count of everything. Keep a track record of everything you do, and I mean everything. Even these stupid little sketches of Humongous Ancient Rockman that were pretty much the start of Chaos Galaxy for me. I'll just show you a couple of things here. This is a file of everything that I've done for Chaos Galaxy, including this here, which is the first thing that I ever did for the game, which is just a plan of all the planets. This is just like what the planet's going to be, and just plans like that, you know, quick sketches that I've just done during class. You know, here again, just another plan, getting more into the whole galaxy type thing. And then there's the planets, and then a file with all of the artworks that I've done. So there you go, you can see Manflacky. You know, if we turn over, there's some more cards. There's Cranchon, Drangel's there, Viridius the Devourer, who's upside down. All of these cards, you know, you have to keep them somewhere. Because, you know, if say your computer files go missing and you lose all the photos that you've taken, you're in big trouble. And not only that, if you see here, well, here I've got a spreadsheet of every card from set 2 that I'm currently working on. It's got everything like the name of the card, the planet, the rarity, the stars, the power, the health. And then over here, you know, I've got all the different planets. Seeing how many cards I've made in total for them, how many of them have abilities, how many of them are rare, how many are really rare, and how many have like resources that support the planet. So just everything, keep track of literally everything. You probably don't have to be as extreme as I am with it. It can just really help you see what's going on with your game, and if say you're using sort of like attributes for your cards like fire, water, earth, and you can look down your list and go, oh, I've made like 5 really strong earth cards but only 2 water ones. I guess I'll just have to make some more strong water ones to try and just keep the game balanced and stuff. Tip number 5, attention to detail. Because the cards you're making are so small, I've just got the one here, you know, if you make a little mess up like a spelling error, or you know, if you draw like a hand that's the wrong way around or something, then normally on a huge illustration, or if you're writing a big essay and you make one spelling error, it won't really make a difference. But because these cards are so tiny and they only have, you know, like a few lines of text on them, even the smallest mistake is going to be noticeable. So for example, if you take Humongous Ancient Rockman's head here, it's only, what if we take it there, look, 1 centimetre big, but that's still a decent proportion of his artwork, and it's probably the main thing that you look at. So you have to get everything spot on. And yes, sometimes that does mean starting again, which can be frustrating, but that's the way I think you have to do it. Next thing is take your time. Don't rush it. Don't, you know, speed through everything. Like going back to my last point, attention to detail is everything, and you should be a perfectionist when you're making a trading card game. You know, and that goes with making your channel as well. If you're going to make a YouTube channel out of it, don't rush into making a channel when you've made 3 cards, because you're not going to have anything to show for ages. When I made the Chaos Galaxy TCG channel, I'd already almost finished set 1, so I had, you know, enough videos to keep me going through that I could make, showing you new cards from set 1 and stuff. You know, and whilst I was making the set 1 videos, I was drawing the cards with set 2, so I always had some sort of backup videos that I could make, you know, if something went wrong. Next thing, which is really important, is don't give up. You know, you see so many TCG makers, I'm sure TCG News will know this. You'll see a trading card game on the internet and you'll think, wow, that looks really cool, I can't wait to see some more videos from this person. And you look down and see that video was uploaded 3 months ago and the person's already quit. So yeah, just don't give up. There can be times when, you know, making your cards gets a little bit boring or repetitive, but you know, once you introduce some new mechanics into the game, that will all just go away and you'll start having a lot more fun again. And another thing with don't give up is just, you know, always find a way to get around things. If you're not very good at drawing, then that's fine, just draw stickmen or take photos and put them on your cards, or just get a friend who's good at drawing to do it. I remember when I made my first ever TCG, it was with a friend, and my friend came up with the whole idea for it. We were around at his house, you know, just like playing PlayStation 2 or whatever, because it was so long ago, and we were playing Yu-Gi-Oh at the time. We said, hey, you know, like Yu-Gi-Oh cards are pretty expensive, why don't we just make our own? Like, yeah, okay. So he came up with the rules and everything, because I was a bit of a stupid kid. But I've always been into doing art, so I just drew all the artwork and he made the rules and the stats and things. And yeah, that's how I made my first TCG. An example of what I'm still doing today is to always find a way around things. You know, most people make their cards on Photoshop or Illustrator, but I don't really have the money to go out and buy Illustrator or Photoshop, so I just use Microsoft Word to make my templates on, and that's worked out fine. You know, my cards I'm really happy with the way they are. Tip number 8 now, practice. People comment on my videos, oh, you know, I'm no good at art, like I can't make my TCG. And now going back to my other point, like you know, you can always find a way around it. Get friends, family to do your drawings, or just take photos. But if you really want to do the drawings yourself, just keep practicing. I mean, it's like anything, you know, you're not just gonna stroll into a maths exam one day and get 100%. You know, you have to revise, you have to do practice questions, you have to just keep doing maths to get good at it. Number 9, which is to always be thinking of ideas. You need to get into this sort of TCG mindset that when you're just walking around and you see like a funny shaped cloud and you go, hey, I could make a card out of that. Or, you know, if you just suddenly think of an idea, like an idea for a card ability, just write it down. I've got quite a funny story. I was on the way back from university one day. I get the train home back to my house. I was sat on the platform waiting for my train, and I just suddenly had this great idea for an ability for a card. So I got my phone out and, you know, wrote it down sitting on the platform, and then the train pulled up and I automatically, without thinking, still writing this thing, just walked up the station and got onto this train. And then turns out it wasn't my train, and I ended up in Sheffield, and I live in Manchester. And if you don't know where that is, it's like an hour to get back to Manchester from Sheffield. But it was worth it because I got a really good card out of it. And if you just keep on having these ideas and write them down, and you'll come back and use them later, you know, something you might not use. But if you look on my phone here, on the notes section, if you can see, I've just got a title page called Cards. And whenever I think of an idea, I write it down in this page, and as you can see, the list goes on forever, and I'm still making cards out of all these. And I've been writing that list since I started the game. And every time I turn a card idea into a reality, then I'll just cross it off the list and just keep on going. But the list keeps growing, and it'll keep growing for the foreseeable future. So yeah, always be thinking of ideas and just get into that TCG mindset. And the final tip is don't force it. TCG making might not be for you. If you think you want to make a TCG but turn out after making a few cards and coming up with some ideas you don't like it, do something else, you know, like write a comic book, you know, make your own board game or just write a story or something. TCG making isn't for everyone. Some people just find it boring, drawing these little pictures, sticking them on the same card and then doing another one and just carrying on and think it's really repetitive. Personally, I don't think it's repetitive because I love drawing, I love making the cards, but at the same time I love actually playing the game as well, so I can always have fun with that. But you know, if you prefer reading or something, then just write a book and just whatever you're doing, just make sure it's creative. It doesn't have to be a TCG or anything. And then there's sort of another point, a sub point to don't force it that I'm going to say now, which is some days I really won't be feeling creative at all, and you can't really set yourself this layout for making a TCG. You can't say, right, this week I'm going to make 10 cards, every week I'm just going to make 10 cards, so I'll finish set 1 in 10 weeks and then I'll start with set 2 and I'll be able to get a new set done every 10 weeks. It doesn't work like that. Some days you're not going to make any cards. Going from now, I've probably not made a new card in 2 weeks, but then, you know, in a few days I'll probably just sit down at my desk and make 10 cards in a day. You have to just be in the right mood for you to make a trading card game, and you can't make yourself do it because otherwise you just won't have fun and it'll be like a chore to you. So yeah, these are my top 10 tips for making a TCG. I hope you found this helpful. If there are any more tips or things that you think I've missed out, feel free to leave a comment, or even better, make a video on how you think you should make a TCG on your top 10 tips. So apart from that, I've got nothing else to say really, but please like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Instagram, follow my Yu-Gi-Oh YouTube account if you're into Yu-Gi-Oh, I'll put a link below, and yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.